Wait, would you have been against U.S. involvement in World War II, Taylor?
Oh, yeah.
Probably. It being consistent, like I probably would have been like, Europe has their own thing. They just had a giant war 20 years ago. We're going to get dragged into another one.
You wouldn't have liked sending the money to the Brits probably because we're sending so much money and the Soviets as well. The Soviets would have starved out and died if we hadn't sent them enormous amounts of stockpiles of not just food but like arms.
There has to be a limit to your isolationism. There just has to be, right? Like, at what threshold would it require? Like, let's say Hitler 2.0 shows up, and it's like, if we don't do anything, we're talking global, one world order, whatever, Like,
well, I mean, like, if we're being attacked, then yeah, we have to rebuff it. But if we are constantly intervening on the behalf of foreign nations and prioritizing their well-being seemingly over that of our own people, like, yeah, that's wrong. Like we have way too many issues on the home front to be dilly-dallying in Ukraine and Israel. And I think it's a net negative.
What issues are not getting done in the States that would be getting done if we weren't sending aid to Ukraine?
Well, it's hard to say because that money for Ukraine could be spent on any other thing. We had this discussion last time. Healthcare is a good example.
And the money I have is worth more.
But
it's not like they went and got a dump truck full of money and sent it over there. They just made up some money. They printed some money, right? Like,
what did that cost?
What comes out of the defense budget?
What I'm saying is like
yeah, we should have a drastically diminished defense budget.
Well, we agree there.
Don't touch my defense budget.
Yeah, no, we should drastically. I know you hate that, Kyle. I know you love American imperialism.
Let me say this.
Taylor.
When the aliens come and we're so ready that we become one of those sci-fi stories, you'll be thankful for our $1 trillion defense budget.
Yeah, Taylor doesn't watch enough sci-fi stories. We need defense. We need battle.
The Russians got the nukes in space now. They got the space nukes.
Space nukes.
Yeah.
I like enough is enough of us constantly sticking our fingers in every corner of the world in a way that just drains resources from American taxpayers to the benefit of foreign nations or our own elected officials who are taking paybacks from those foreign officials or corporations there. Like it's so bad for us that I just don't understand why there has to be like, oh, well, what's not getting done here that would be achieved if we had that extra money? Well, inflation will be lower. Like we wouldn't have gone through a lot of that nonsense. We also wouldn't have huge issues with our border. We could secure that. There are a litany of things. We could have better roads. We could have more robust school systems. We could have healthcare.
You're talking about things in a vacuum, though. You still need the political will to actually pass these bills.
True.
To send bills. So, like, even if we spend no money in Ukraine, I don't think we would have any better healthcare. I don't think
we would have spent less money, and that would be beneficial for us. Like hundreds of billions of dollars. Like it's not just free.
Well, it's not even 100 billion, and I mean, I think it's close to 90 billion right now in Ukraine. But there's more aid package that's being proposed.
Yeah, and so it'll be well over that soon. And so it's like it's not good for us, and it's not like, oh, this money is just going to be thrown in a fire pit if we don't give it to a foreign country. Like, no, we could just not print it. We could just not spend it.
I understand that stuff. I feel like it's a great deal for us. I see Russia as a geopolitical adversary. I think that they are trying. Look. I also think that the whole thing's probably NATO's fault and our fault. We agreed with them years ago that we wouldn't put those bases and those missiles there, and we keep doing it. We keep pushing their shit. We had a meltdown with the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it was tit for tat there too, and we never talked about it. That is aside, though, because we are where we are. So I'm all for the Ukraine thing. I like giving them all the fancy missiles and stuff. I don't want, I'm sure there's going to be some spillage, as they say. Somebody's going to cash some checks they shouldn't. But that's how war and business and shit works. There's going to be
if we do get into a war, I think that seeing our weapons used in Ukraine will inform how we can make them better.
We're learning, like, this is so invaluable to us. I feel like to our intelligence apparatus, and to our military apparatus, and to our military industrial complex. We're learning in real time what it's like to fuel a modern 21st century war, so that our production systems can be ready if we need to fight the same war in a decade from now.
Run a war game.
If
Don't
this
spend
war,
$100 billion on
you can't game for what the adversary is going to do. Remember how, like, every step of the way we were surprised by how this war turned out, how the manpad systems, the portable rocket systems were suddenly the thing, and it didn't seem like the tactics were working. They couldn't combine arms. and they couldn't get air superiority. You can't game for that. This is perfect. It's the real world, and no Americans have died that we know of. Maybe like three probably died.
Like Ukrainians.
Yeah, they were dressed like them too, and they spoke Ukrainian, and they had some cool goggles on if they died.
It's hard to sell to the American people like how it benefits them, because oftentimes if we send aid to a country like Ukraine, there's no like some fucking Amazon worker in Virginia. Their life is not different, you know. So
their life is worse.
So that
things are more expensive now.
I just don't know.
Maybe he gets Ukrainian mail order bride.
Ukraine is contributing to inflation. I don't know if that's like a big thing, but like. But if you, and I think we talked about this last time, but if you let someone like Vladimir Putin, if the message that the world sends him in this moment, it's like, if you want to take territory, you can take territory. He's not going to stop. And there's other forces at play as well. You have to worry about China's ambitions with Taiwan, because they're watching what's happening in Ukraine right now. And I guarantee you it's giving them pause. I mean, maybe it's inevitable that there's going to be conflict with Taiwan and China, but
it is. Yeah,
maybe
it'll happen eventually.
If I'm China, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, like, maybe I can still take it. But Jesus, we're going to look. First of all, it's going to be a PR disaster. Like, you saw, it's going to be a PR fucking disaster. People are going to like not buy Chinese whatever product just because it says Chinese on it. But like the world will coalesce behind a cause, and that even if that cause is they don't like bullies. The world doesn't like bullies, and clearly we're not as focused on it, Ukraine, as we were initially. But I mean, that October 7th thing was pretty big. And for some reason, it seemed like every news media outlet like really focused on it, like they were told to, or maybe they just had, you know,
well, I mean,
fire.
It was the most significant terrorist attack in the country's history. So I mean, it was gonna make the news for sure.
Yeah, I think the conspiracy theory that the news was told to report on October 7th is about as valid as the one that Kansas City won because they pulled the strings.
Well, the joke is that they don't have to be told because like all those corporations are Jewish owned.
Okay, Kanye.
It's true. Look, Kanye said some crazy shit, but like he also like stated some facts that should just that are just like there to be facts.
That's a coincidence, Kyle. That's a coincidence. Now look away.
Right? Look away. Kanye said a yard was 3 feet. Can you believe it? Like, yeah, I mean that's about what a yard is, right?
A little bit of a broken clock effect there.
Seriously though, what do you think? What do you think the best case scenario for Biden to handle Israel? Because no matter what, fucking 30 to 40% of people are going to be heated. Is my take.
I honestly, I hate to say it, but if you go back in time, what if he immediately sent a force in to lock things down and keep both sides at bay?
Send American troops into Gaza?
Yeah.
No,
that's a bad move.
Americans don't have an appetite for war. We're not,
and to stop Israel from getting their revenge. Like to me, what I really want to
you make everybody mad that way.
Israel kind of wins, but not like this. Right? How many people have they killed? 30,000? Is that a good number?
Roughly. That's way a low estimate. Yeah.
Okay.
I like 30.
They lost 1,100. Right? I'm going to give them 2,500. 2,500. Right? Send a message. You mess with me, I take 2 for everyone, and call it good. 30 for everyone. This feels
the goal of war has never been proportionality, though. So, like, I feel like this is a really weak argument. Like
proportionality. I suggested you double up,
compound for the proportionality.
But like when America entered World War II, we didn't go in there thinking like, okay, we're gonna kill 50,000 Germans. It was like the goal was we need to stop the Nazis and the Japanese from taking over Europe and Asia.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to the objective in Gaza, it's eliminate Hamas.
Right. There's a problem with every idea, but I don't know if our goal is total war, right? Which is what you sort of suggested. Our goal is peace. So how do we teach them a lesson and then have peace afterwards?
Hamas have been wholly dedicated to the proposition of killing or expelling every Jew from the river to the sea, Greater Israel. They envision ruling over Greater Israel through Islamic law. They are not. People don't like hearing this. People want to hear like permanent ceasefire. I don't know what that means.
Yes,
No, I don't. I really don't. Like,
it means a ceasefire that doesn't end.
a ceasefire is by definition a temporary pause in fighting, and then you can springboard off of a ceasefire to negotiate a lasting peace. I don't know how you negotiate a lasting peace with a group whose explicit goal is the destruction of your country. That's where it gets kind of dodgy. And I'm not saying I'm comfortable with the level of force that's been used in Gaza. That's not what I mean. And especially, and like blocking humanitarian aid is abhorrent, obviously.
I mean,
yeah.
Depends what they're trying to do. We don't know what their goals are. They may be trying to exterminate the people, in which case, it's going pretty well. They clearly want to get them out of there. Aren't they about to invade a different region? Is it called Rafah or something?
It's in southern Gaza, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to push them all out. I think the way they're bombing that place, it's not the kind of bombing you do where people move back.
Yeah,
right?
it's like scorched earth.
So which companies are going to be coming in there to fix things? I know which companies. We all do. Like, it'll be Israeli companies who come to rebuild that place, because that is going to be Israeli territory. So they're not going to abandon it.
What Netanyahu said his goal was, and it's a joke. It's just as much of a joke as like Hamas's idea of like permanent peace. But Netanyahu has said that his goal is the destruction of Hamas first and foremost, which he says we're only like 6 weeks away. But eventually after that, he says they're going to establish basically a permanent military presence in Gaza, and they're going to install a puppet government, which for obvious reasons is just that's not going to work. Obviously,
I think it's more likely Zelensky gets some of his land back than the people in Gaza do. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why it's important to have like international pressure on Netanyahu to not like the only solution for like lasting peace would be a 2-state solution. It can't be a 1-state solution. That's just off the table. Like, it has to be a 2-state.
I mean, we're the international pressure though, and all of our politicians are bitch made around Netanyahu.
Well, there is pressure from American politicians, including Biden, to pursue a 2-state solution. That is quote a permanent ceasefire. Would be like Palestinians have their own state, and it's like
now he knows what a permanent ceasefire is. Now he's defining it. See,
they're like, even
like what the people that say like Biden should force a permanent ceasefire. I don't know what that means. Like, if Hamas are going to continue rocket fire into Israeli civilian like centers, because that's what they do. They fire thousands of rockets. You know, they have their Iron Dome and they have really good defenses, but they're constantly under rocket attack from Hamas. Or if they continue to plan October 7 attacks, how is that? That's not a permanent ceasefire.
Dude, the simplest solution is we do not belong in this eon-old ethnic conflict. Like, what? Like, there's nothing beneficial for American people, normal American people, over there for us. It just embroils us in nonsense and costs us money.
Taylor just made me think of something. I was trying to figure out, I was even asking Kyle, hey, what is the political win on this? I think if we followed Taylor, and I guess mine, non-interventionist strategy, and you get a lot of negative press for a couple of weeks, then it would blow over like it was Afghanistan. No one's talking about Afghanistan as an election issue right now. Oh, was it a bad withdrawal? Yeah, it was. It was several years ago, and no one gives a fuck today.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of the biggest like donors to people like Trump, Biden, whoever, like they have like a vested interest. Like Sheldon Adelson, he like funded the whole Republican Party, and he's like, that's one of like Israel's like his big issue, and so they're not going to go against their big funders.
Well, they're also like very pro-Zionism too. So like they don't really need poking and prodding. Like Biden himself is he's like a self-described like proud Zionist, which is kind of like an outdated term, but like, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's, if you do nothing, if you don't put any pressure on Netanyahu, if you don't put any pressure on Israel, then for sure they're just going to they're going to try to just drive them out of that region together. And there's no.
I saw an Israeli rap video today. It was like a lady Israeli rapper. And and she's talking about like blowing up Palestinian houses. She's like, "I blew up your house for free." That was one of the rap lyrics. I'm sure it rhymes in her language. In Israeli. She was being real mean about it. Yeah, it was
all that propaganda is not helping them. Like them doing like fun selfies in Palestinians' homes and stuff. It's just, man, it's like
I think it plays back home though.
It does, and right now, like the overwhelming majority of Israelis support the war effort in Gaza right now, but as far as the rest of the world,
the only winning move is not to play in issues like this. And this is It's losses around the board. Who knows if it's even possible to not play, given how embroiled our politicians are, being funded by people who have vested interests in different countries. But like, it's not good for us as people. Us
as
like
stated, I think the best move is not to play, because you're still going to lose. You're going to lose Sheldon Adelson, for example. But it is probably the best move. For
American people, it's the best move. For a politician trying to get elected, they're going to do the behest of whatever the pet project of their biggest donors are.
That's why you need managed democracy. You vote, but then an algorithm interprets your vote and the outcomes that you would like, and then throws that away.
Now we're getting,
it does what it's told.
No, we can
Zuckerberg,
go back to Kings.
we trust.
No, let's go back to Kings.
I'm okay with Kings. Which family?
I think a slight majority of Americans still support aid to Israel right now. So it's not like so cut and dry. Obviously, there's a huge chunk, especially of like young Democratic voters that are obviously like very much against this war or against this against aid. So I don't know, like what Biden is currently doing. Where like now, I guess he's like leaking to the press that he's considering conditioning aid on certain things, which I think would be a step in the right direction. But I don't know if he can ever get back the.
Yeah, they're not going to condition.
You need to change the topic.
Piss, bro.
I don't know how to change the topic, how to get people talking about what you want. But if this was about Dobbs and this was about Trump's rape cases and other criminal cases, then that helps Biden. For this to be about Israel is not the win that he needs.
It's just like the Israel thing is the biggest thing happening in the world right now.
Trump
and so like everything is gonna. No, Trump like
he will say he does. In day one, he'll fix it. He has a plan. I'm not telling you, but I'll fix it in one day.
Like I don't
tell
understand
you my plan, because then you wouldn't hire me.
Like I don't think it's going to hurt Biden that much in the long run if he ends up running like the whole Israel thing, because it's like Trump is just as pro-Israel as Biden, probably more so if possible, like or at least the same amount. Like so it doesn't play.
He personally beefs with Netanyahu. Like him and Netanyahu they're no longer best pals, but. Trump was asked recently, what would you do in Israel? And he just simply said, well, they need to finish the job. Like he would not be pushing for humanitarian aid. He would just tell Netanyahu, like, Gaza's yours. We're not going to even rhetorically oppose you for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, got to get out of there.
Yeah, I think that the big problem is like, especially up there in the Rust Belt, you have a lot of Arab voters and Muslim voters. We've got friends who are up there in Detroit, who are Muslims, who are immigrants, and
Minnesota too,
and they do not. I asked my buddy, I was like, "What does your dad think? What do your uncles think?" And I was like, "Oh, they don't like Biden. They hate him."
And that was a good
like
fish.
Trump anymore.
There's a lot. If there's one thing that young left-leaning voters or potential voters are really good at doing, it's not distinguishing any difference between the parties. Like Republicans, I think, they get energized and they have some elections where they don't show up as much, but like they understand, I think. Like I actually kind of respect if you're a Republican who doesn't like Trump, you might even think he's like somewhat of a threat to democracy, but you're just not going to vote for Biden. We're talking about people that have like specific policies in mind and they don't want, what they look at when they say the Democrats, they just find it totally unacceptable. And with young people, something like the Israel stuff happens and there's so much fucking TikTok propaganda and so then this narrative gets constructed where it's like that, two sides of the same coin. Biden is basically no different from Trump, but when you look at the policies, they're just like you said, Taylor, totally different policies, like completely different policies. There are caverns and universes between the parties, but young people just get convinced like it's all the fucking man, bro. It's all the war machine and the
only thing they're seeing on their feed, and they see that people who say what they're saying are getting a lot of positive feedback on it, and so they want that too.
I hope he does something neat this time. He talked about buying Greenland last time. That obviously fell through. I didn't like that they mocked him for it, because I would like to add Greenland to the.
I didn't mock it
to the Union.
If we could buy any country, why not Greenland?
I'd like a vassal of some kind. I don't want to buy anything per se. I want to take something. I'd like to take something.
We already have tons of vassals. Look at Europe,
dude. I think isn't Haiti kind of free for the taking?
Well,
right
I'd
now?
like it in writing. Frankly.
No, I don't like it. That's a fixer-upper, Woody. We don't want that. We do not want Haiti. No.
How does it look in a real purple state like Georgia?
Georgia,
Actually,
all the
you're
swing states, all the swing states right now are like slightly in favor of Trump. I think
So,
in the aggregate.
I don't remember the date when I made my Trump bets.
Yeah, too early to tell now.
But it's like a year at least ago, like before, like long before anything got started. I just, it's a few things. It has nothing to do with what happens in the day in and day out. I just think Biden is too old and he's not beloved. He doesn't have that Clinton magic or that George W. magic. He's not beloved, and
Definitely not the Obama magic.
Doesn't have that either. He's not running a scam. But Trump, on the other hand, there are people who there's going to be the anti-Trump vote that goes to Biden, but I just don't think hate gets you out if you're on the left. I don't think you can bank on hating Trump or being afraid of Trump to get your guy elected, and that's why I bet on Trump. Because
he probably should not be antagonizing Nikki Haley voters, though. I don't think that's very smart.
Nobody should be antagonizing Trump because he's about to be the president of the United States. I think that all of these lawsuits, I'd be backing off. I'd be leaving him the fuck alone until I knew for sure that he wasn't about to be the commander in chief. I'd want a postponement on everything. I'd want to wait until we know who we're prosecuting/persecuting. In some cases, some of that shit is very valid.
I think the charges helped him in the primaries, but I don't know if it'll help him in the general. And it's not even clear at this point if any of these, well, the Manhattan trial is probably going to start next month. But it's not.
Are you not up to date on that?
The Manhattan trial got delayed today. Bragg said he'd be willing to wait 30 days. What did you hear?
Maybe something similar, but I think they're going to reschedule it in 30. I'm not sure it'll start in 30 days. And I think I might have heard 90. I think I did hear 90 days, but who knows? I'm only as good as
I saw 30, and then it would be jury.
It's only like 240 days before the election, something close to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So knock 90 off that. Now we're 150 days from the election, and they don't like to do these trials in the last 2 or 3 months. It's just easy to see how it gets pushed on the other side of November.
It's tactically so I don't get why they did it at this time if they were trying to like really hurt Trump, because it galvanizes support around him much more than it like gets more people against him.
Well,
like it's a bad, just politically, it's a bad tactic to do this leading up to an election.
Well, galvanized support for his supporters, a galvanized support during the primaries. I don't know how many, I mean, you could be right, but I don't know how many independents are looking at like legal peril as though it makes him like a martyr. But you're also framing this like it is necessarily a political thing. Like there was this tactical thing, like Democratic leadership got together and it was like, okay, let's coordinate these indictments. I think that's
what it seems to be. Like, do you think he would be concerned for this stuff if he announced, I'm not running?
Even if it's not, you'll have a hard time convincing most people.
That's true.
The timing is not suspect, and appearances is all that matters.
That's true. I think you're right about that. I think most people view it through a partisan lens, but I don't think like Nancy Pelosi and Schumer and Biden gotten, invited like Jack Smith and Fani Willis and Bragg to the White House and like secretly coordinated this. It was just, I think they had been investigating in Georgia since like immediately after the January, or not necessarily January 6th stuff, but the call to Raffensperger and all that. So she started investigating like right away. And, you have to start it at some point. And if you wait too long and then he's president and then the statute of limitations runs out. So the timing makes sense. Even if timing makes sense if you remove the partisan sort of like interpretation of things. But I think like a lot of people, they have like a sense of power and like power hierarchies in this country as there being like a cabal of people at the top that are like pulling the strings. I think like a lot of people view power through that lens. And I think the real world is just much more complicated and disconnected and interconnected. And
it's fun. I think people see the other side like that. And I guess I'm kind of projecting here because that's how I see Trump. Trump just took over the RNC. This is the Republican National Committee, like not the government, but the party that's responsible for getting people elected. And Trump put his daughter-in-law in there. She's in like the second in command, and the first in command is like a figurehead that's also a Trump sycophant. And they're just doing Trump shit. They completely got rid of their mail-in voting people. Any kind of mail-in voting drive or early voting drive, they got rid of that, saying that early voting and mail-in voting is bad. I think it's a huge tactical error, but it's a thing Trump is doing. All this RNC money is going to go to Trump. It's not going to go down ballot. No more senators, no more House of Representatives or local school boards or whatever. Trump has taken all that money and he's going to pay his attorneys and he's going to pay himself. And I think it's going to wreck the party. You guys are confident Trump is going to win. I think Trump is going to get absolutely butt fucked come November. And not just Trump. I think it's going to hurt other people down the line too. And I know it's not easy to be this confident. I get it, but he got butt fucked in 2022, in 2020, and in 2016. Like, these guys haven't had a good run in a long time.
It's been a minute, but like the other thing to point at too is that polling underestimated Trump and the Republicans broadly in 2016 and 2020. When we're talking about state level polls, the national polls were actually kind of close to the margin of error in the aggregate for like RCP and 538. It was state level polls where it was like, you had the poll saying like Ohio Clinton +2, and then the final product is like Trump +1. Like, what the fuck happened to the polls there? But one thing that has been going on now consistently since the Dobbs decision is Democrats have been overperforming in contest and after contest after contest. We've seen like gubernatorial seats that have been flipped, state legislatures, state Supreme Courts. There's no question that the Dobbs decision energized voters. And what's happening right now is the Democrats are doing better with specifically energized voters, with the type of voters that will show up and vote in a special election or a midterm election. They have an advantage there. The thing that's unpredictable is that Trump actually brings a lot of people to the polls. He's energizing. So it's going to be this energizing force of Dobbs, and because it's not Biden. You guys are right about that. Like, he's not like he's not like a beloved character or a president. So it's going to be the Dobbs decision and like recent stuff like IVF, stuff like that. That does energize a lot of voters. And so
I want to get your
Trump. I can think
thought
of
on like Gavin Newsom. I think he is like a good option if the Democrat, like, I feel like he makes the most sense in my view for them to like switch someone out. But he's the most. Who's better than him? Like,
I guess everyone pulls the worst.
Here's the thing: like, people say,
Oprah.
like, well, the generic Democrat polls better than Biden, so they need to bring somebody else in. But then when you get specific polling, like, okay, well, how does Pete poll against Trump? How does Kamala poll against Trump? How does Newsom poll? How does Whitmer? Biden polls the best against Trump, against versus all these, and it makes sense. Like, incumbents have an advantage; they have name recognition, and all that. But Gavin Newsom, I think, is a sharp politician. If you watch his like interviews with, even if you don't like his politics, if you watch his interviews like with Hannity, he's really good at holding things in his head. So Hannity will say like 5 things, and then he'll tackle each thing like in order. He's really good at keeping. So rhetorically, he's very skilled. I don't know if he has a lot of appeal outside of California.
I do not like Gavin Newsom at all, but he's clearly he seems like he's the most like traditionally good looking. He's not overweight. He's not fat. Normal looking dude. Like, optics is paramount when you're in politics. And when it gets slimmed down to R versus D, like, I don't imagine Biden doing a good job. Gavin Newsom, I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong.
I think Biden. I don't think Biden's my. If you ask me to pick my my second pick for who's going to be president, like most likely Trump. Who's second most likely? It's still not Biden.
Who is interesting? Who wins?
Look, it's people have been saying, like, Rogan says it a lot.
Most likely thing is that Biden dies, and
Rogan's been saying this a lot, where it's like, well, they can't run Biden. They can't run. Here's the reality. It was always going to be Trump versus Biden after 2020, but it's not going to not be Biden. It's going to be Biden. 100% it's going to be Biden. People just assume that he was going to be this one-term president. If you look at interviews really early on, he was saying, my intention is to run again, but I'm not going to. I'll tell you when the time comes. But he was saying the whole time his intention is to run 2 terms. His age is obviously a liability. Like, and voters seem to have hardened in that position.
Yeah.
And that's a really tricky thing to disentangle, like decouple yourself from. Like, so that's going to be the big challenge for him. And unfortunately, the only way to do that is to be aggressive and get him out there more. Get people, like, show the public, like, yes, he stammers, yes, he stutters, but if you put him in a long form interview, he can get into like deep detail about like complicated geopolitical stuff. And he might stammer, but he's not dumb and he's not demented. But
I think he definitely is not entirely with it.
What makes you say that, out of curiosity?
Seeing the way that he kind of hoovers around the stage, needs constant assistance and people walking up to guide him, makes gaffes, not understanding who he's discussing, where he's discussing about. He's just not with it. Like if it were anyone else but Trump, I feel like they would replace this guy and go with someone who's way more capable and that they were comfortable putting in front of the country more. Because like how many times have you seen him like about to answer a question and his like wife scurries over real quick and ushers him off?
I don't know if I've ever seen that, but
yeah, I haven't seen
I understand what you're saying. Optically, there's no question that he has never been a skilled orator, but 10 years ago, he was way better on a microphone than he is now. There's no question that he's lost
an old man. He's like 82.
How do you reconcile, out of curiosity, and we don't need to get into like whether you like the policies, but how do you reconcile the fact that legislatively his record is really fucking impressive? Like the amount of bills that he was able to sign into law eclipsed Obama, certainly eclipsed Trump. Trump got the tax cuts. That was like his
Trump didn't get anything done. I would say I don't like
taxes for the businesses and the wealthy.
And that's it. What else did he do?
Biden got
Jerusalem fucking embassy.
Biden got chips. He got the PACT Act. He got the gun bill. He got the infrastructure bill. He got the Inflation Reduction Act. He got the, these, and a lot of these were bipartisan. So he was able to do what Trump said he was going to do. Trump said he was going to get in there and be like a deal maker. And he's just very abrasive and just not, like.
He was stymied a lot by his own party and whatnot. I still don't think
by himself. They offered him an infrastructure deal and he wouldn't take it.
Yeah.
He wanted.
They also like wouldn't give him like border wall.
He wanted
stuff.
concessions.
Like, $5 billion for the border wall is too crazy.
He wouldn't pass a nationwide infrastructure bill unless they stopped the impeachment investigation. He made it about himself, and that's Trump. That's why I don't like him.
But how do you reconcile that? Just like he?
No, Taylor, I don't like the legislative moves he's making. And I don't like the changes in the country since he took over.
No, yeah, of course.
Place all the blame on him. Like it's like the COVID shit really sent us down a spiral of printing infinite money and the normal people, the middle class of the country ending up footing the bill for this. And meanwhile, we're funding foreign wars again, seemingly multiple, constantly. Like I dislike what he's doing.
2.5.
No. Setting aside because you're a libertarian type. You're like conservative. So obviously the policies you're not going to be a fan of. But that's not the question though. The question is, how do you reconcile him being a demented old man with him having, by modern standards, a wildly successful legislative slate that he got passed?
I don't think that Biden himself is that impactful in his administration. I don't think he's waking up in the morning and beating the pavement, taking care of things. I think it's largely his cabinet and the fact that he has a majority of Democrats, so he can really kind of get this done.
Well, for example, there was a Political article, and McCarthy reportedly, he was like publicly saying, "Oh, Trump is this demented old guy," or whatever. In private, he was reportedly saying when he had meetings with Biden, he was surprisingly sharp, and he was very active during this negotiations process. The immigration, the border wall bill, reportedly, he was very active in him personally.
Hearsay.
Yeah, it is all hearsay. Like you're gonna hear what
I've
that
seen.
Person wants you to
I
hear.
can only judge his confidence based on what I see with my own eyes. I don't believe in. Look, if you listen to Trump propaganda, it's like Kim Jong-un type shit.
Yeah, he weighs 230 and he's 6'5".
Oh my God. Okay. Like, calm down. We get it. You got an ego and you're a liar.
And you're fat. You can't run away from that. You're fat.
My tie is long. Yeah. My tie is long. I can't be fat.
Biden is not fat. I'll give him that over Trump.
Biden is a svelte guy. You know why, Taylor? Because you
got to fall off bikes sometimes. And what do you do when you fall off a bike? You get right back on it.
Sometimes if I don't read my speeches good, they don't bring me my soup.
Just for me, like my priorities as a voter, obviously I favor different policies than you, but like the question that I ask is like, if I, when I'm evaluating if I want to support a candidate, is like, how effective were they in pursuing their agenda? And when I look at his agenda, I'm like truly, he got a remarkable amount of, and even if you want to say like, okay, well, that's because of his cabinet. I mean, I disagree. I think he was reportedly very directly involved with a lot of these negotiations.
I don't see the guy.
It doesn't matter to me why he's successful. Only that he's successful, right?
That's kind of
presidents have had different management styles. Like I've heard Clinton, for example, forget the policies and the man, but just the style. Clinton was very hands-on. He was trying to negotiate peace between the Palestinians and the Israelis, and just block by block, he's in there saying, you know, well, what do you think of street, and you know, should this go here, and whatever. That's who Clinton was. He was in the dirt. He had his hands dirty. Reagan, on the other hand, he was much more of a, you know, he managed the other managers who put their, you know, policies forward and didn't, you know, day by day talk about which streets should do what or the details of stuff. He just put people in place to make it all happen. I don't know which one's better. They can both be successful.
Yeah. If there's a wildly competent politician who does a good job of like enforcing legislation that I don't like I don't want that guy in.
Well, sure.
Like the same way, like it's kind of like the discussion we're having is like we're fans of different sports teams almost to make it trite.
Hitler
and
was
be
great
like,
at
well,
what
why do you not
did.
appreciate how good the Blackhawks are at this? And it's like, because I don't like what the Blackhawks when they win. I like when the Blues win.
I'm just challenging. I'm pushing back against the idea that he's not competent because it's like it's hard to reconcile.
Well, I mean, you might argue that Trump was standing there doing nothing because it's conservative. We're happy with the way things are. I saw him tearing down lots of EPA regulations. We like that shit. When I hear when he said drill, baby, drill,
he had a legislative agenda, like,
and he achieved basically none of it.
He got the
it was infrastructure week every week
for that wall.
Infrastructure week was a running joke.
Yeah,
when Trump was president.
Well, and the first thing he tried to do was repeal and replace Obamacare, and that was and ultimately failed. And so I don't know, like, do you guys feel like the Republican Party is better off now than they were before 2016? When I look at 2014, you know, you got McConnell's got that iron grip in the Senate, and Paul Ryan's got that iron grip in the House. They had their shit together. Paul
Ryan would only take that job if every single Republican in the House voted for him unanimously, and they did. Right? Compare that to today.
The Republicans are fucking losers because they don't do anything that their constituents want. They're like, what do you want? A secure border? More money to Israel, my friends. Like, they're just losers. Like,
what do you think about Marjorie Taylor Greene?
They suck.
Marjorie Taylor Greene represents an area right above me. I live in Atlanta, and man, when I saw her at the State of the Union wearing that hat with the shirt and shit on, I was thinking to myself later, and I was telling somebody while Biden was speaking. I think we were doing the show. I was like, yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene had the hat on. I'm sure she's not wearing it now. The president is speaking. And like that's, I've got at least that much respect. I'd lose my hat if the president's speaking. I don't care who it is. And, you know, well, maybe I care. If it's only Yasmin Blade, I've got some questions about what happened to this universe, how he became president, but it's not. It's Biden. And then I look and she's got it on. And then she yells. She yells again because she yelled last year. She was the one, her and Boebert. Yeah, from Colorado.
She is a powerhouse when it comes to fundraising. I don't know if you knew this, but Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of the best fundraisers in the Republican Party.
Can you pull that back up, please?
She looks so much like Ron Perlman. I can't get over it.
That's her servant there next to her, that black lady.
But you know who else was a incredible fundraiser for the party? McCarthy. And the Trump wing pushed him out. So, like, when I look at the Republican Party right now, I try to be as unbiased as I can in my evaluation. But if Bernie Sanders had won in 2016, and then the Democratic Party had a run that was similar to what the Republican trajectory is currently, I would be pissed. I would be like, this guy's fucked the party. Like,
well stated. Yeah, Trump has ruined
a lot of
it.
people.
And now his takeover of the RNC is going to hurt them. They're losing donors. Like, billionaire donors are like, I'm not here to fund Trump's lifestyle. I'm not donating to the party until this changes.
They're not holding it to fund his lifestyle. They're like holding donations to get legislation they want.
So look,
no, they're going to spend that money on his legal bills, like his legal liability in, you know, posting bond in New York.
It's like best case scenario. Sure, if you think Trump will only use it to pay his legal expenses, then you're giving him a lot of credit.
Barron needs new pants. Come on.
Barron probably grows out of his shoes all the time.
That motherfucker, bro. He's like Ben Simmons.
What if Trump like gave him some sort of super soldier serum? Because if you remember, I remember the night they won. I watched it recently, 2016 or whatever it was.
He was tiny.
He's a normal skinny fucking kid. He looks a lot, suspiciously, in fact, a lot like Steve Rogers in Captain America, the #1, right? When he's all skinny and he's in the alley getting his ass beat before Bucky comes and saves him. I submit that Donald Trump gave his son the super soldier
There's a non-zero chance you're right.
Yeah.
And he created a superhuman, the first of his kind, and a program to mirror, in fact, Xi Jinping's program to create super Chinaman.
Yep.
He used Jackie Chan's DNA and he mixed it with a Nephilim DNA sample that they collected
he's almost
in
as
Mongolia.
Tall as Trump in this. I assume this is 2016.
Either that or he's jumping.
Nephilim DNA mixed with that of a man.
It's possible that Trump wins in 2024. The Senate is going to be really hard for the Democrats to defend. So it's possible that Trump wins. Republicans likely take back the Senate, but Democrats take back the House. And then you have this split government. And then typically with the way that pendulums work, I mean, obviously like Republicans bucked the trend in the 2022 midterms, but then 2026 midterms,
third term.
Yeah, well,
no, he doesn't. There will be no third term. The second just doesn't stop.
I think it's a lot of people that are like, I think some of the hand wringing. I think some of the hand wringing about like the end of democracy is a little cringe.
That's really embarrassing.
Like, okay, it made sense. Like the threat was a lot bigger when he was like exiting in 2021 because he actually had power. If he serves out his second term, there will be a campaign and an election, and you know, if he doesn't want to leave in 2028 or 2029, rather, he will be escorted out of the White House.
What if he argues
who want that job?
What if he makes the same argument that FDR made, that his hair is fucking sick and that he should keep being president for a while longer? You try to pass
the constitutional amendment, you could try to do that. It's really fucking hard to do that, but
it would be tough. I agree with you, Hutch, that hand wringing is frustrating to see because it's like, all right, now we're just in La La Land. Now we're just in pretend world, like fretting over stuff that not even the people being worried about it actually are.
I mean, I think he's bad for a lot of reasons, but I don't think it's at all possible that he's going to stay for a third term. Like and
he'll be like,
it's possible.
If he wins, won't he be like 83 by the time it's over?
How old was the Queen when she passed away last year?
Like 104, but she didn't.
Wait, was she
just hanging out? I think she's actually 99.
No,
right?
like 90, low 90s. I thought.
No, Betty White was 99. She was so close to 100, and then she didn't make it, which sucks. I'd rather die at like 87 than go to 99, not even make it.
She was 96. She died.
96. Still a good run.
Good.
I don't think I'd like, or maybe I would. I bet like 92-year-old me would be like, man, I'm glad I'm still alive. But when you see someone who's like 96 years old, it's like, my goodness, what quality of life do you have? Everything
there aren't
has
many
to hurt
spry.
Constantly.
I saw a picture of Jackie Chan today. He looked like shit. That's why I used him as my CCP super soldier DNA. Jackie Chan.
I would have bet the house that he was going to age brilliantly.
82.
Why? He spent his whole life getting the shit beaten out of him in Hong Kong.
What do you guys think of the idea that basically every president moving forward for like the next like 20 to 30 years are going to have an initial bump when they first get inaugurated, because that's what always happens, but then it's going to just hover around 40%.
No, I disagree.
Give me one person that could get 55.
It's not about the
55.
It's not about the person. It's about the scenario that we're in. If we if things are just coasting along, economy up, economy down, then yeah, you're right. But if we get in a real war, if somebody we don't like talk some shit and we got to go handle it, and everybody gets them flags out, and all of a sudden there's country music at every Super Bowl, and we're not doing the Black National Anthem anymore because we've got Toby Keith's fucking hologram out there singing the sequel. You know what I mean? Like,
well, Trump had that. He had that with COVID. That could have been like, if he would have worked that. I mean, I feel like COVID in some ways was a gift. He could have in another universe, he could have sailed.
I would have here's what I'd have done. I should be on his fucking team. I'd have said, Mr. President, here's the thing. Each and every vial of the vaccine, if you're going to fund this, what do they call it? What do you like, the surge or something? When they put a bunch of money in to try to develop the cure. I don't think that
Operation Warp Speed is what you're looking at.
I'm pretty sure you told me that Warp Speed wasn't directly responsible for the COVID vaccine.
It was responsible for like 1 or 2 out of the 3. Maybe Hutch knows.
Okay. Well, he should have had his face on those bottles, or at least the American flag. If he had done that, if the whole world, when they got their life-saving bottle of medicine, they had to draw it out of an American flag painted bottle, I'd like that. And anybody who won't, let them die.
Didn't he put his name on one of the rounds of the stimmy checks?
Yes,
didn't he?
Yeah,
yes, he did.
At the bottom. Yep.
I liked that. I liked that a lot.
Similar. I think Biden did something similar recently.
Biden did that for the
I bet he didn't want to at first.
Yeah.
I bet he didn't want to at first, but some staff was like, "Sir, here are the numbers." And they showed, because every time I see black folks talking about Trump on like social media, they're like, "I remember that check he sent me. That's what I remember." I remember that motherfucker bought my PlayStation 5. That's what I remember. Madden, motherfucker.
Republicans have been making like progress with Hispanic voters and black voters. I mean, I don't know if like it could be.
Dude,
like,
they're such Charlie Browns with that. It's hilarious. They're like, this is the time that more than 0 black people vote Republican, and then they're wrong every time.
He already did a little bit better with black voters in 2020, and the current polling.
Small, though,
didn't he win Mexico?
It's like going from like 8 to 10%, but
it matters though.
Yeah, that really does.
Need every one of them. It's so close.
So
but
here's why he gets
a
ton of Mexican support, and here's why. Spanish American, whatever you want to fucking call immigrants, true immigrants who are now fucking voters who came from there, because those people have one thing in common: they all went through the process. That's why they're able to vote.
And they hate communists.
And if they can vote, it's an extensive process. If they've gone that far down the road, they're not just on some work visa or some long-term program. They're voting former Mexicans. They went through the steps. So when they see somebody jump into the front of the line behind them, they don't like that. So immigration's a big deal to them. Here's the other one: all of them are Catholic. All of them are Catholic, and they don't like abortion.
Yeah.
They like having 18 fucking kids
and gay marriage
They hate that shit. Yeah. They got all sorts of mean words for that.
I think it's like I saw a poll where it was like, I think it was like 75 or 80% of Spanish Catholics living in the Hispanic Catholics that live in the United States oppose gay marriage. Like they were the most opposed of any of the.
I don't think marriage approval is going to go in that direction, though. I think it's going to get more and more accepted every decade as time goes by.
Yeah, it's like interracial marriage.
Right. But the Democrats have some other stuff wrong. And the one I'm thinking of really is like some of their passion around trans issues, particularly biological males and female sports. Like, bro, this is a bad position. Would you just drop it? Stop that.
What did you call me?
I saw this is like 5 years ago, but the guy that won the the girl that won the Texas state wrestling champion was clearly a guy. She was jacked. She'd kick my ass too. And I'm like, this is just wrong. This is wrong. That Penn State guy, the swimmer girl, I keep fucking this up. She was a guy the year before. She was a Division I male swimmer. And then she just flipped over to the girl side and put on a different bathing suit and fucked everybody up and won the national championships, because of course she did. When Democrats support this kind of stuff, it's not an important issue, but politically it is, and no one's on their side. So change it up.
Yeah, trans people represent 0.5% of the population in adults, and they take up about 50% of the discourse online. So I think
they're allowed. I agree. They're a very loud and obnoxious group of people. I'm glad you were the one to step out of line and really
that last touch comes through. But some positions are just losers. But Roe v. Wade is probably an even bigger issue, and it's a loser too. And this thing,
I disagree. That's where I was going with the Catholics, Mexicans.
Pornhub's
they
illegal in my state.
Roe v. Wade thing.
Pornhub's illegal in Texas. Keep doing this, Republicans. See how many votes you get.
That's okay. That's different. They'll never figure out who to blame for that. See, little issues like that don't resonate with the little voter.
You're wrong. I'll tell you why. Because when you go to Pornhub, it's a video. There's only one page you can possibly get to.
Okay.
And it's a woman saying, yeah, well, the Republicans don't want us to like verify your ID and get some credit cards or something like, federal ID, so that we know exactly what porn you're watching. And we're just saying not for your state.
Damn. Okay. That's a different story then.
Yeah,
if Pornhub was smart, they would. Oh, never mind. No, you're right. Yeah.
There's all kinds of interesting like realignments going on politically in the cultures, because even though Republicans have seen not insignificant gains with Hispanic and Black voters, there's been an interesting realignment of women in the suburbs towards the Democratic Party, and that started even before Dobbs, but now it's like more significant now. So even though they've
talk about the Palestinian issue,
what's about it, Kyle? You're Biden right now.
Yes.
If I'm
Too
Biden,
late.
I have no idea what to do. I can't please everybody.
It's a no-win situation. Absolutely no-win situation.
What's the closest to a win you can manage? Kyle's good at this.
He's out there waist deep in the fucking bog right now. He already stepped in it, so to speak, but with his initial sort of inaction and then that sort of back and forth nonsense.
Well, you say inaction, but his administration were directly involved in negotiations for 2 previous ceasefires. So they've been very active with...
All I see is buildings and rubble and bodies and dead babies. And so if you tell me there was a ceasefire one day, they're like, oh, was that when they found the bodies, when they had the ceasefire? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not hearing it. I'm hearing dead babies.
Those fires are for making TikTok videos.
What I see is Biden who can't keep his dog on a leash. That's what I see. I see Biden... Okay. And not only that, he's like patting him on the back a little.
He's not America's dog, though. He's not. Not.
He should be, though.
Well,
he should be.
They, like we do give him a substantial amount of money each. Well, we give them $3.5 billion each year, but that represents about 17% of their military budget. If we stopped all weapon transfers and financial aid tomorrow, they would still be going out.
No, they ran out of ammo.
Let's do it.
They would forge. You don't think that a country like China or Russia is going to try to step in immediately to fill that void? Like, for sure. So like, you can't, like, there's this idea that Biden can just literally force Israel to do whatever he wants them to do. And I don't think that's true at all.
I think he certainly can, because I think that Biden has, he's like, all right, well, I can do this with Saudi Arabia, or I can say this to Iran. We can change our stance on our defensive packs. You don't get the new Ares missile system. We're not going to bring our boats and provide you anti-air cover from all those drones that are coming from the Houthis. You know how many drones we shot down with our $13 billion fleet that we rolled up for him?
Are you talking about the Iron Dome right now?
No, I'm talking about the United States sent a fucking aircraft carrier fleet over there and parked there to a carrier group and parked there and shot drones down for weeks, and they're still shooting them down. Look, I think they should be our dog, because we give them tons of money. Look, I'm the most pro-Israel one here.
We get fucking nothing.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
We get hated by the world and embroiled in conflicts that we shouldn't be in.
Did you say we give them nothing?
No, we get nothing.
No, we have from it. Yeah. So first thing, they share that they're an intelligence partner with us, so they share their intelligence with us, which is huge. That's like not why did you do that, Woody?
Is it worth being the largest recipient of foreign aid
I want something
ever?
A little more concrete. Like I watched a YouTube video that was explaining that America exports security, and by that I mean like we spend a lot on our own military, and everyone in NATO knows that we'll protect them if shit goes wrong, and then in exchange we get really hard to define, hard to monetize, hard to understand goodwill. I don't know what kind of trading that gets us, how much better Apple and Cisco and GE are doing because of this security export, but it seems like not a lot, that it's like an IOU that we get in exchange. So when I hear that they're a security or an intelligence partner,
that's just one aspect, though. I mean,
I place very little value. Like, their intelligence is not what the legends say it is. October 7th proves that. So, like, I don't know. If Israel wasn't our intelligence partner, would there be any difference at all?
They had intelligence of October 7th. The problem is they were stretched too thin. They had diverted a lot of their troops over to the West Bank, and there was ineptitude when they were like reading the intelligence. And so it was like America. We had a heads up that September 11th was going to happen, and we had a similar kind of like lapse in intelligence where they just ignored the threat and it happened. And then some people think that Bush did 9/11, but it's not like America is helping this country or that country because we're this fucking altruistic pro-liberal democracy force. We don't do these things out of the goodness of our hearts. We do it because it benefits the national interest.
As much as I seek it out, though, I can't find where we're getting a good deal. Or how this works out for us. We spend
now you're sounding like Taylor. Are you
millions?
Yeah, the American people do not benefit from our relationship.
I have this strong sense of right and wrong that dictates my foreign policy. And that's why I'm pro-Ukraine, right? The Russians took over a country that didn't belong to them. They're raping the women. They're stealing the children, if that's true. But they definitely don't belong in Ukraine, right? I'm very suspicious of all the propaganda. I watch both sides, and I don't know. Anyway, but I'm still pro Ukraine, even though it doesn't benefit America, because I'm pro good guys, right and wrong, etc. In Israel versus Hamas, it's not as clear to me. I'd rather just let two assholes fight each other and stay away.
Well, I don't think we get anything beneficial to actual Americans here, like raising families and working jobs, by supporting Ukraine or Israel in these insane ways. It's not beneficial. It's not helpful to us. It makes us enemies all over the world, particularly in the instance of Israel currently. Like it's not a net benefit for us. And I agree with Woody in that this ethereal promise of intelligence that we probably have a better version of already is not sufficient to be like, oh, well then, give them write a check for the house. American taxpayer money straight over.
I think you guys are underselling the importance of like sharing intelligence with our like global.
Are you doubting
partners?
my expertise in Israeli intelligence?
Wow. Like what have we really what have we concretely gotten from them that would make it worthy that they've been the largest recipient of foreign aid for the past 80 years?
Well, look at the region of the world, and then look at like who can we possibly. I mean, it's in America's interest to have international partnerships all over the world. To benefit our economic structure, to maintain stability, to maintain liberal democracy in countries all over the world. Like it's not just because we do it because we care. It's because it serves our interests. And when you look at that region, like like we have this kind of like tense friendship with Saudi Arabia now, maybe, but who else are we going to be partnering up with? Iraq, Iran, like Yemen, like Oman, like and so like just geographically. They're a very important foothold for American interests in that region. I'm not saying I just want to clarify. I'm telling you what I think like a foreign policy expert would say. I don't necessarily disagree that we're too entrenched in certain conflicts. I'm just saying that
I wonder if Israel would be our friend a little cheaper, right? Taylor said they're the largest beneficiary of our foreign aid over the last so many years. I don't know. Is that true? Is that
by
right?
a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Number two is Egypt, and the reason for that is we basically paid off Egypt to normalize relations with Israel, so it's almost tangentially related to that.
Cumulatively, it's been I can't say that word. It's been over a little over $200 billion that we've given them over the last several decades of.
Are you telling me Israel wouldn't be my friend for 50 billion? Like, did it have to be 200 billion? Did it have to be that outrageous? What about 10 billion? What if it was just some smaller number? I feel like we're getting a little bit hoodwinked on this terrible deal.
Yep.
Well, a lot of
they are good businessmen.
A lot of it is like boomer. When you talk to boomers, your average boomer, they are gonna like fiercely defend Israel because they remember Israel in the context of like fleeing the Holocaust and for a lot of them,
it's worse than that.
Are you talking about the evangelicals? For a lot of them, it's about prophecy. For a lot of them, it's about biblical script.
You know what? The magnet on my grandma's refrigerator said, my God's a Jewish carpenter. All right. They fucking mean that shit. They're ready. Those old folks, you talk to a 70-year-old Southern Baptist, he's ready to go over there and dig through that rubble so we can finish somebody off. Like, they love Israel. Okay. Yeah. And they're
literally waiting for the end of times. And that's a not insignificant amount of Americans where they support Israel for that explicit reason. But for a lot of old people, like it's like a cultural, like, it's just, they're a product of the times in Israel. That was like a big fucking deal in 1948 when the United Nations partitioned that land. It was seen as like, it's huge for them.
When did they bomb our ship? Was that 64? Are
you talking about the Gulf of Tonkin right now?
No, that's Vietnam false flag. I'm talking about when the Israelis attacked that United States naval vessel and like bombed it.
The USS Liberty.
Yeah. Well, was that 64?
50s or 60s. Yeah. I don't remember.
Whoops.
67.
67.
Yeah.
It's also like an interesting, we're like Dresden, for example. When we bombed Dresden, we killed, I think, 50,000 people in 2 nights of bombing. The firebombing of Tokyo before Hiroshima, we killed 80,000 Japanese in 1 night of bombing. And so I think what's interesting now is like, if we would have had cell phones back then, what would the public's response have been? Because we were cheering that on, here domestically.
Dude, in my lifetime, I've watched war coverage get so much more real and accurate. Now, there's always been propaganda, and there still is.
More gruesome.
But the first invasion of Iraq was the first one where we had like real-time satellites, right? People weren't using film and mailing the film back to America to be edited and approved and put on television. Instead, it was like a real-time conversation with this weird delay, between anchors at CNN and Geraldo Rivera in the sand. And since then, it's gotten way better. Now every freaking soldier has a GoPro on his head. We're walking through the trenches, showing his highlights on TikTok.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Geraldo. He's the one who gave away like troop positions or movements or something to fucking CNN while they were happening. He got in a lot of trouble for that, or at least a lot of like public trouble. I don't know if I'm sure someone went and talked to him.
They really got fucked up in Desert Storm though, so I mean, I don't know if it made a difference.
That was a big W. That was a big W for the home team.
Fast W.
Man,
that was actual mission accomplished in 30 days.
That's one of the reasons George W. Bush gets kind of 2 thumbs down for me on that regard in particular, because for those of us who have ever played like, Dark Tide, Vermintide, once you play a map and you got it down, you can go back and knock that one out easier and easier every time. Sure. We had just done that shit, and it wouldn't be so bad. It's his dad. It's literally his dad. We say we're not I like the American way. No monarchies or dictatorships here. So okay, so then that guy's
just a vague connection of nepotism and backhand deals.
So a few years later, that man's father became leader of the world for 8 years. But then after that, the other guy's wife tried and almost made it. And it's like, I don't know. It seems like we've got just a little monarchy of our own making. And like, I love that Kennedy's name still means something. I have to hear about his aunts and uncles and cousins and nephews and shit.
True.
Like they've got that magic touch of like, what? You're going to take us to the moon? You're gonna start laying that accent on us?
Like Biden, breaks the royalty. I guess Obama broke the royalty trend, right? He wasn't attached to anyone. He just made it through good grades. Well, fuck, Clinton did too.
And charisma. He was, Obama was like the best orator.
Yeah, good grades.
His charisma doesn't work.
That all anybody gets to the presidency through good grades.
Well, yeah, he was a Rhodes Scholar. He was fucking smart.
Yeah.
Nobel Peace Prize winner.
Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar, and it was a big part of how he got to where he was.
How many Rhodes Scholars are there a year? I'm genuinely asking. By the way, you were right earlier. We sell like 300,000 Fords to China a year.
Yeah, I thought it was more than you said, but
a lot of cars.
It's more than 2. You were fact checked wrong.
Yeah. I just couldn't imagine that. I thought there'd be tariffs. One. I choose to believe. I noticed that number skyrocketed around Trump's presidency. I think maybe he made some deals. No, I just made that up.
But hold on to your thoughts.
It has been rising.
To interject, we got to hear from a couple of wonderful sponsors, right?